Hi, Mitch here with Rideshare Dashboard. I'm going to talk about getting started in the rideshare business. Now, let me clarify. I'm not going to tell you that you can get rich. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all these little different ways that you're going to make money and you're going to profit and you're going to get six figures. We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty on what it takes to get involved and actually be successful. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that there isn't the potential to make six figures. I'm not saying that you can't. But you have to ask yourself, what is your time worth? And that's what it really comes down to, is trading time for money. What do you value yourself at? And we're going to go through some questions looking at all the basics. You probably learned in elementary school. Who, what, where, how, why, and when. And then we'll tag on a little bit of extra. But again, this is just general information to get you started to be successful. I should probably point out that this video, this particular first video, is part of the new driver training. So if you're looking to learn and expand your knowledge as being a rideshare driver, this is a place to start. So let's start with the who. Who should drive? Who should become a rideshare driver? The three primary things that come to my mind is attitude, service, and money management. And I want to expand on these. So with attitude, you got to ask yourself, are you somebody who's friendly? Are you welcoming? If somebody gets in your car and be like, oh, you know, maybe wipe your feet before you get in, or knock off your boots, or you sit there and you're just kind of like, yeah, so where are you going? And they're just like, oh, you know, I'm going over to the laundromat. You know, I got to pick up my buddy there right across the street. Like, and they're like, well, you know, is it right for the window? No, keep that window up. You know, that is not guest service. You are providing a very bad service and you'll get rated on that. And ratings do matter. And again, this is stuff we'll talk about in future videos, but for now, we're just kind of sticking to getting started and what you need to know right off the bat. And that's attitude. Now, what is customer service attitude? When we think of customer service, we're thinking about servicing the person that's hiring us for a service. Let's be honest, we're being paid to do this, so we are providing a service. We're dealing with people, so it is customer service focused. And with that being said, going above and beyond. Anybody can get in the car and drive. That's not hard. But taking the time to remain calm, even when you had a bad rider the time before, well, this is a new person and they don't want to be treated differently or disrespectfully because of the person from before that was just in there. So if you're doing an airport run, a good example is pull up to wherever you need to let them out at, get out of the vehicle, open the trunk for them, help them unload their bags, and tell them to have a good flight or have a good day. Those are things that make a difference. You're picking someone up from the airport, be like, hey, how was your flight? Was everything all right? Where are we looking to head to? Yeah, you got it in your GPS, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Like, hey, where are we headed to? Oh, I'm going to the Mall of America. Okay, well, I drive in Minneapolis, so I know the easiest and quickest route to get from the airport to the Mall of America. Boom, done. Awesome. For the most part, I don't even have to look at the app. I know how to get there. And so, service. And like I talked about, going that extra mile. Do you keep water in the car? Now, you don't have to. I do. I can get a 24 to 30 pack of water for like $2. I get one $5 tip a month. I've already bought at least 2 packs. Not a big cost, in my opinion. But it goes a long way when you pick somebody up. They're on their way to work. They have a dry throat. Makes a difference. So, but yeah, service. Are you willing to go out of your way to make that person that's riding in your car feel like they're welcome? Not, that's another one. I want to go home. I can't wait to get this person out of my car. I want to be able to just go to bed already. And that is not service. Being able to take and welcome them into your vehicle, that's service. So service and attitude really do go hand in hand. Attitude is more about presentation, where service really is more about the actions you take to welcome that person. Opening a door, holding an umbrella, helping them get their luggage in the car. Little things like that. If you're picking someone up that might be elderly, are you getting out to help them in the car? Little things like that can make a huge difference. And money management is probably the number one. Because you are considered a business owner, Uber does not take tax out of your checks. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about taxes and stuff below, but understand that your vehicle is going to depreciate in value. You're going to have maintenance repair costs. At some point, if you're doing this full time especially, you're going to need to look at getting another vehicle when that one doesn't work anymore. So that's kind of where I say money management. Remember, you're driving. You're going from place to place to place to place. So that car is your office. How's your office going to move if you don't put gas in it? You got to make sure to put money away for that. How exactly do you plan on paying your taxes? You got to put money away for that. What if something goes wrong with your car? What if you're going through a road and you hit a nail and all of a sudden your tire blew or is flat? You have money to repair it? Well, I sure hope so, because if you don't, you're out of a job. And so that's where I say you got to be able to manage your money. You got to make sure you're putting enough money away to cover your expenses. Now, I typically put away 30% of every little thing I make. Do I need to? Absolutely not. The fact of the matter is I could probably get away with 20%, and that would be enough that by the time something goes wrong with my car, I've got $1,000 or a couple thousand saved up or more by the time I'm looking to get a new car. So, but I do 30. The reason I do 30 is that leaves me 70% of my money to live on. That's 30% is about what they take out for taxes at any job. By the time you figure in insurance and you figure in the deductions and all that, I would say between 25 and 30%. So I take that out of my check right off the bat. That leaves me 70%. That 70%, then I have gas, so forth, and whatnot. So, why? The second thing we're talking about is why. Why should you drive? Hours, family, side gig? What are you looking to do with this? Is this just a little something outside of your regular job? You just want to drive? Are you doing it because you think you're going to have flexible hours, maybe more time with your family? Well, let's talk about the hours. So, you really need to look at the best time to drive where you're from. If you're from the cities, like the Twin Cities, you got to figure out what's best for you. I prefer to drive at night for a couple of reasons. My personal story is that when I was 7, my mom was in a car accident. And so driving at night allows me, and the accident was caused by a drunk driver, so this allows me to help people that are out drinking get home safely. I know that they're home safe, and that makes me happy. But again, we're talking about trading time for money. And so, for me, I'm not as worried about the money. I do want to cover my costs. I obviously want to be able to have a life. And so, I do get paid for my time. But I also get the opportunity to help people. And this is where I talk about hours. You got to figure out what's working in your market. If you have, I would say between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the Twin Cities, it's a lot of airport runs. There's people going to the airport. Now, I don't do a lot of airport pickups. Actually, I don't really do any. There's usually about a good 20 to sometimes an hour or 2 hour wait over at the airport. I'm not going to queue up and sit there for however long it's going to take me to get a ride when I know there's about a half a dozen other cars just sitting there in the airport. So what do? I hit up all the little hotels and stuff right around the airport where people are going back home or they're flying out for their business trips and things like that, and it's back to back. By the time I'm pulling up into the terminal with 2 minutes to drop off, I've already got one queuing up. Even on a Monday morning, Mondays are really slow for a lot of drivers, I bet. I know in Eau Claire it is, but I'll tell you what, Mondays at the airport, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, doesn't matter what day it is. I know there's people flying. It's an international airport right outside Mall of America. There are people going back and forth every day. So I know there's at least 3 hours during the entire night that I'm going to have a lot of back-to-back trips. So that's one thing to consider is you need to schedule yourself around the hours that make the most sense. Again, you're a business owner, it's customer service. What are your business needs? Family. Understand that there are going to be times you want to take off and spend time with family. The nice thing about being a driver is if you have kids in school and all of a sudden one of them gets sick, you can just clock out and go. That is the one nice benefit. You can choose to work at night, choose to work during the day, work during the school. So you can work your schedule around your family, but understand that doing it full time as a primary job, that takes some planning. That's why some people just do this on the side. They just want to be able to use it as an opportunity to throw some extra money around on the side. And that's where I say you got to decide, what kind of considerations are going into why you should drive. What to expect. So there's a few things that you need to expect right off the front, and this is where we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Expenses, maintenance, types of passengers, mileage, taxes, insurance, vehicle cleanups, potential damage to your vehicle. And if you're interested in actually seeing a more thought out information on all this, go to my website, rideshare-.com, click on the blog, and go under driver training. This is lesson number 1 right here. Getting started. All the other information that I'm going to be putting out there after this, it's all going to be based off a lot of what we're talking about right here. So, expenses. What are some of your expenses? Well, if your upfront costs, you're talking about a vehicle inspection, depending on what your state requirements are. I know for driving up in Minneapolis, I had to get my car inspected. That was about $40. Insurance endorsement. Understand this with your car insurance. If you use your car insurance to start up with Uber or Lyft or any other rideshare program or delivery service, you need to make sure that it's covered. Because you are considered to be doing commercial driving or transporting people or things like that, there are additional coverages and so forth. So the way it works right now is typically when you're just driving, let's say you're going to the grocery store, you're going to the mall, whatever you're doing, it's just a personal whatever, your car insurance company covers that. Now every company is a little different, but in the general aspect, you're covered by your car insurance. When you have a passenger in your car, typically your rideshare program will cover you and your passenger while you're doing that transporting of that person. But when you're sitting there waiting for a ride, you're logged into the app, you're parked at the side of the road, you're waiting for a passenger to make a request, you're just sitting there, or in some cases, you get a request and you're driving to that passenger. Well, first off, the passenger isn't in your car, so your rideshare company may not cover you at that point. Again, it differs from platform to platform, but just as a general concept, usually until the passenger's in there, you're not covered. Because you're also logged into the app, even though you don't have a passenger in your car or you're driving to them, you're currently at that point not covered by your insurance. So you've got a gap area where you have no insurance coverage, and that's basically anytime you're logged in the app and there's nobody in your car. So to bridge that, a lot of insurance companies have what they call a rideshare endorsement. So you can add that to your insurance policy. So now it bridges that gap over, going from personal into commercial, so that way you are covered, should you not be by the rideshare program. Now, to go with that, look at your insurance company, talk to them, and then get quotes if you have to. My first quote I got, they wanted $195 if I prepaid up front. Otherwise, it was just a little bit more than that, almost $200. $200 a month just to drive people around. So I went and I did some digging, and I found a lot cheaper company going with Allstate. Now Allstate wanted $123 for my insurance, and then with the rideshare endorsement, it came up to $128. Now my regular insurance for the first quote I got would have probably only been about $120, $130, but they wanted that huge extra amount, almost an extra $50 for the rideshare, where Allstate only asked for an extra $5. So guess who I went with? I switched over to Allstate. Now, like I said, your insurance may be able to work with you, but get a quote. The big difference I did too is originally I was going through an insurance broker, so to speak. They basically throw your name, your info out there. They do a whole bunch of requests and figure out, this and that, and they come back to you and say, oh, well, these are some of your options. With Allstate, I went to their website and I just started doing direct quotes right through those insurance companies, and that's how I got a better deal. So that's something to consider too. So expenses up front, insurance endorsement, gas. You're gonna need gas to get started. You gotta fill your tank up. That's something I like to do, is before I start driving, fill your tank up. Don't be like, oh, I gotta have a tank, I'm good. Because here's the thing, once I hit a quarter tank, I try to stop, pull over, and refill if I'm gonna keep driving. And the reason for that is if I start getting back-to-back rides, I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna clock out right in the middle of a surge to go fill up my tank. No way. I want to be ready to go. I want to, if I know I've got a bunch of, so if it's like 2:30 and I know my airport runs are going to start coming in at about 3 o'clock, at 2:30, I'm going to probably turn that app off. Yeah, I might miss a couple rides, but I know I'm about to get hit left and right from airport runs, and sometimes all the way up until 7 or 8 o'clock. So I'm going to pull over. I got a gas station right outside of the airport. I believe it's a Speedway, actually. So I can cut out of Terminal 1. I go right up into the ramp there. I pull up. I go in there. I gas up, use the bathroom. By that time, I'm getting a little hungry. So I'll usually grab just a deli sandwich, just like one of those wedges. Grab my nice egg salad sandwich, a little thing of milk. And then while the gas is filling up, I'll be eating that. So save time, and it keeps my car clean. I don't have the garbage sitting around. So I'm eating while the gas is pumping. Throw that out. Gas is done. Hook that up. Boom, I'm back to go. Probably takes me about 10-15 minutes to do everything, and all of a sudden I'm so ready, because at 3 o'clock when those airport calls start coming, I'm good. I know that I've got a full tank of gas. I can knock them out. I've had some that took me about 10-15 minutes to get out there, but I know I'm going to do another 10-15 minutes to get back. So that's something to consider too, is having your gas. Make sure you got money ready to go for gas. If you're going to get started, I recommend at least trying to have $100 or $200 set aside for gas money just to get through that first week and try it out as a part-time gig. Don't start going hardcore into this and start just being like boom, 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 boom. Your first couple weeks, just take that money that you're making on the side and shuffle it into a savings account for nothing but gas, just to help you get started up. Maintenance, like going with the vehicle inspection, but you may have some things you need to get fixed before you even start driving. Maybe your tail light's out. Maybe you just need to replace a blinker bulb. And don't forget blinker fluid. Just kidding, if anybody actually believed that one. But just some general maintenance. Maybe you want to get an oil change before you start. Maybe you're about a couple hundred away from getting your oil change. Just go in and get it. Now I know a lot of cars say every 3,000, every 5,000 miles I get my oil changed. And I always plan it on the 5. So when I buy my new car, I don't care if I'm at 143. I get an oil change at 143, and then I'll go to 145, oil change, 150, oil change, 160 or 155. Now, typically I'm not buying high mileage cars, but I'm just saying, say you buy a car at 43,000 miles, all right? Get an oil change. Just do it right off the bat. 2,000 miles, just get another one. $20 oil change. It's not that bad. So now you're at 45,000, and then as soon as I hit 50,000, I'm getting another. At 55,000, I'm getting another. At 60, I'm getting another. At 65,000, that makes it, a lot of cars nowadays can go up to 10,000 miles before you need an oil change, but not all of them. It's usually more of your eco-friendly type cars, and you're paying a little bit more for that. But again, I'm not going to say disobey your manufacturer recommendations. I'm saying what I personally choose to do is every 5,000. What I recommend other people do is follow your manufacturer's recommendations. So, maintenance. Phone charger. If you don't have a phone charger for your car, you're not going to be able to get rides. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know where my phone is right now. But as a matter of fact, there it is. Gotta have your phone, right? What are you gonna do when your phone dies? You can't take requests. You gotta remember, this is an app-based platform. So to do that, you need to be able to, let me open my app up. Boom. Right here, Uber. Right? What's going to happen when your phone's dead? You can't use this anymore. So it's not going to do any good if you don't have your phone charger. And safety. Safety needs to be paramount when you're driving. Not only do you need to stay safe so you can go home to your family, keep your car safe so that way you can continue to use it, But don't forget that your passenger wants to get to where they're going safely. That means keeping your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. And how do you do that? You need a phone mount. Hands down, it's a necessity. You need a phone mount. That's just a fact. You're going to need a phone mount. So those are your upfront costs. Phone mount, I think I paid like $10-15 for mine. My charger, you can get a charging cable for like $5-10. Go to Walmart. Maintenance, all right, oil changes, $20-30. If you need to do some extra repairs, that's obviously going to vary. Gas, my car does about 300 to 320 miles on a full tank of gas. It's a 12 gallon tank, and I'm probably talking about $30 a tank. Insurance endorsement, anywhere from $5 to $50 depending on your company. The vehicle inspection is going to vary from $30 to $75. Like I said, I did $40 on mine. And a dash cam. You're going to want a dash cam to protect yourself. All it takes is somebody saying, oh yeah, he went to go drop me off and then asked if he could come inside and maybe we could hang out for a while. Can you prove that you didn't say that? Because you're going to get yourself deactivated if you can't. And even if you do get deactivated, at least there's an opportunity to get reactivated. But if that person just decides that they want a free ride, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to protect yourself? And not even that, but what if you're driving down the road and somebody just starts yelling out, hey, this guy's trying to rape me, blah, blah, blah. Check YouTube. It's happened. There have been passengers who go off for the littlest of things. And I'm not saying that your passengers are all bad. As a matter of fact, 99% of the passengers that I've had have all been really great. There's been a few sketchy people where I kind of I don't know about this person, but nothing where I felt I was in danger. So you got to take that into consideration. Get yourself a dash cam, because your $100 dash cam may save you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in legal fees later on. With that though, don't forget the SD chip. What I do is every time I get done driving, I pop out the micro SD, I take it, I head over to my computer, I transfer all my files from my SD card from the dash cam onto my external hard drive. And I have them sorted in order and by date. So I have a new file for every day that I drive. Now that being said, in the event that somebody accuses me of something, I can always go back, pull it up. They'll be there 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Some people may just rewrite it, but I don't like to rewrite it because they may not have said something today, but what happens a week from now when I charge them for, let's say that they throw up in my car, which again comes up to the car cleanup or vehicle cleanup. Somebody pukes in your car, you charge them $120, and they say, well, I didn't throw up in there. I got pictures of it. Well, that wasn't me. That had to have been the other passenger. I can say, I got you on video right here doing it. So again, having the video in the dash cam is imperative to keeping yourself safe and protected from accusations. In addition to that, I highly recommend getting one that has front and back facing video, as well as audio and preferably an infrared or some kind of way to record in the dark. The reason for that being, if somebody says, oh, he just ran stop signs, I felt really unsafe in that car, I say, no, I didn't. I got a video of the drive right here. Oh, well, he tried to put his hands on me. No, I didn't. I got a video right here. It's like, well, how can you tell it was dark? Hello? Well, he was saying creepy things to me. I'm like, no, our conversations are recorded. Or if somebody threatens you and you call the police and you say, hey, this person threatened to stab me if I didn't give him a free ride. Cops may say, well, it's his word versus yours. Do you have any proof? I can say audio right here. So again, protecting yourself. Which also brings us to potential damage. There is the potential for damage to come to your car. Put money away to repair it. You can't drive a damaged or unsafe vehicle. And that may be from people slamming the doors so too hard. People are rolling your windows up, rolling your windows down, you blow a speaker, just anything minor could happen in there. And just being able to have the money aside, you say you got to go and get a new motor for your window, just drive in and say, hey, how much is it going to cost? Okay, I got it. You don't have to worry because you've already set money aside. Like I said, I do 30, but see what works best for you. So now I want to talk about a bit on where to drive. The first thing I'm going to say is don't drive around. If you know some really popular spots close to where you drive or where you live, just start there. Driving in the cities, I am pretty sure I started one night in Hudson, and then Hudson took me over to Woodbury, which is not too far. But then I ended up somehow getting into downtown Minneapolis, and then from down there, I just kind of got thrown around in all kinds of different directions and all the little different suburbs. Another night, I started in Woodbury. Then it brought me out to the cities, into Minneapolis, and then over to St. Paul. Somehow I ended up in Adena, and then over into Apple Valley, and I even went as far as being at the Mystic Lake Casino. So your drives can take you, they may even like 5-10 minute drives, you're going to kind of get thrown all around. So what I like to do is get a few blocks away from my house, and as soon as I get a few blocks away, I just turn the app on and just wait for it to come in. I usually head towards a hotspot that I have in mind. So for me, I like to drive towards Mall of America, but every time I do that, there has not been once that I've ever made it that far because a ride comes in. So that's where I say, just turn the app on. I like to have a nice popular destination in mind, but if something comes in while I'm heading to that spot, I don't care if there's a surge there, I don't care if there's a huge event there, I'm taking the ride that popped up because that ride is going to take me to somewhere else. From there, I'm going to get another one, and from there, I'm going to get another one. Rarely do I ever have downtime unless I turn the app off and take it, because by the time I hit about 2 or 3 minutes on that ride, I've already got another one coming in. So that's something to consider too, is don't drive around just looking for rides. If you have some downtime, so say I drop somebody off, I'll go maybe a few blocks away, because I'm not just going to sit in front of their house. That's creepy. I'll go like 2 or 3 blocks and around a corner. I'll park somewhere, and I'll wait for the next ride to come in. If I don't have anything in about 10-15 minutes, then I'll usually start heading towards a more popular area that's close by, just because I know a lot of times during bar close, I'll start to see things roll in. Now, everything's going to be different based on where you're located, but this is just some general information to keep in your mind. Busy areas and surge mania. Don't chase the surge. If you see a big old giant blue-red area popping up on there, don't sit there and be like, oh my god, I gotta go get the surge, go get the surge. No. Here's the thing about surges, is the surge is based on the number of people looking at the app. So if you got 50 riders looking at the app, that doesn't mean 50 people are going to be making requests. You might only get 5 riders who want requests, and all of a sudden you've got 10-15 drivers there. But let's just say hypothetically there's 50 people that want a ride. All of a sudden the surge pops up, and 10 of those people say, I don't need a ride, I'm just going to hang out here still. I just want to make sure there's cars out there in case I do. The other 40 are like, yeah, we need rides, but all of a sudden you got 40 drivers that just showed up. You're not even there yet. So that's where I say, I mean, those are high numbers, but you get the point. The idea is that even like with 10, and all of a sudden you got 10-15 drivers there, that surge is gone before you even manage to get close. Don't chase the surge. If you're in the area, maybe like within, say, I would say 4 or 5 blocks, go for it. Don't go to the center of it, just go into the outskirts of it and park. Because the fact of the matter is a lot of times you can just drive through that surge and you'll pick up the surge pricing. So even if you get a request outside of the surge, you can just go ahead, knock that one out, and still a lot of times that surge price will stay attached. So that's something to consider too, is don't chase the surge. It doesn't hurt to go into a popular area. Don't sit out there in the country. Like if you drop somebody out 10 miles outside of town on at some farm, I would not probably just sit on a farm road and wait for the next request. But I would probably head back into town, have an idea of what's close by. Oh, I'm going to go park downtown. I'm going to go park, just outside the airport area or things like that, just to get yourself into a little bit more populated city area. But I wouldn't sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to go right back down to the stadium and wait for a ride. Because let me tell you what, there's probably about 15, 20 other drivers sitting right there at the stadium ahead of you. And you could have been making, and by the time you finally get up there to get a ride, you just as easily probably could have had 10 or 15 rides around that general area. But instead, everybody's waiting at the stadium for the next person who wants a ride, because guess what? It's huge. It's football, and everyone's going to be running out there, and everybody probably will. And if you get a ride, that's great. Then drive up there. But I'd rather not be sitting around waiting for something that isn't going to happen for a while when I could continually be building income out on the road. When to drive, times, events, flights, weather. Start to look at things that are going on in your area. What time are people getting out of work? What time are people going to work? What are the rush hour hours? What time do the malls close? What time do the bars close in your area? What time do most people go out to start drinking? Those are areas where people are going to want rides, and those are good opportunities to take advantage and maximize back-to-back rides. And that being said, schedule yourself around those times. If most people are going out around 10 and they're getting done at 2, say for whatever, and you know that they're also getting done at 5, why not work 4 to 2, 4 to 3? Bar closes at 2. So now you're in that zone where you can be doing that. And if you know that there's going to be a gap between like 10 and 2, maybe you can stay busy, but why not, if you're planning to eat, why not schedule it during that slow gap during the night? So that's something to look at. Look at what events are going on. If you know that a lot of events are going on in your area, well, guess what? If there's a huge concert going on, a lot of people get done on the concert and they want an after party. There's potential for rides. Big movie premiere. A lot of people are going to go out to eat before the movie and then want to get there. The other thing too is if you know that you have a music festival and it's opening up at 10, chances are between 8 and 10 you're going to be swamped with rides because people want to get there early, or people that are running late and things like that. They don't want to deal with the parking, so they're like, I can get Uber and just get dropped off at the gate. Again, potential for rides. And guess what? You didn't have to sit around there waiting, but be on the clock during those times. Weather's another good opportunity. Watch the weather. If it's raining, it's snowing, you got hail that's going to come down. People don't want to be standing outside at a bus stop or, waiting on the taxi that may or may not show up, or, having a walk, ride their bike, whatever the case is. So bad weather is an opportunity for rideshare drivers to go ahead and build income. Which also brings us to flights. Know what time flights are coming in, know what time flights are going out. Like I told you, between 3 and 6, I get a lot of back-to-back airline calls for not at the airport, but I'm picking people up at their houses or hotels, and I'm taking them to the airport. So that prevents me from having to sit in the waiting zone of that airport and not have any rides for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Instead, I'm having back-to-back rides, so I ain't even worried about it. I ain't even fretting about rides, because while there's 10 drivers waiting at the airport for pickups, I'm going to people's houses and doing drop-offs and departures. And to me, that's a lot easier. And plus, a lot of times my riders aren't as cranky because they're not getting off a cramped airport, so they've gotten their night's rest. If anything, I'm just dealing with people who are kind of drowsy and not fully awake. And then finally, how to get started. So the first thing you need to do is decide what platform you would like to go with. A few of the different options are, there's Uber, Lyft, there's a new one coming out, and I'm really sketchy on this one, but Trip is another one that's kind of up and coming. And like I said, I at this point wouldn't necessarily recommend somebody signing up with them. There's a lot of different loopholes and a lot of different, I guess I would call it not certainty about what's going to happen with them. They're going to be a subscription base versus a percentage base, which sounds great, but they're really new. They're not even really operating, except for I think 1, maybe 2 cities in Florida, I think it is. And so, but I am mentioning it just because it is something that seems to be coming around. But again, who knows? Like I said, it seems really sketchy. It's just really sketchy. But a lot of things are in the startup. So please don't go jumping on these, and I'm not endorsing any of these. I'm just telling you what's out there. All the information in these videos is just my opinion, experiences, and from talking to other people and trying to combine this to help you guys out. So like I said, there's Uber, there's Lyft, and there's Trip as far as rideshare goes. If you strictly don't want to do riders, another option for a side gig is deliveries. You can do food delivery. Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats are 3 right off the top. So again, there's opportunities to do rideshare and there's opportunity to do food delivery. And you can always go ahead and do both. I mean, personally, if it was me, I would probably run until bar close. Once bar closes and done and I'm done with rides and things are slowing down, I could always switch over to a food app, because by that time people are probably like, oh, we got home, let's keep partying. And especially when you have things going on like homecoming for colleges, not high school. Don't do any underage drinking. But You got the college homecoming, you've got big music festivals, a lot of that kind of stuff is going to go on. And don't forget, people may order something and have it delivered to their work for their lunch break. So again, another opportunity. And like I said, so you just really got to decide what platform you want to go with. Look at the requirements for those. So in some cases, your vehicle can't be more than 10 years old, and even then, it has to have less than 150,000 miles on it. That's something else to consider. Is your vehicle qualified? Is your insurance going to cover you doing this? Do you have a valid license for the type of vehicle you're driving? What are your state requirements? Do you have to have a commercial driver's license of some kind? That's something else you need to consider. Don't forget about, like I talked about, the upfront costs. Your dash cam and SD card, your vehicle inspection, insurance endorsement, gas money to get started, maintenance, charger, phone holder. I'd recommend an insulated bag of some kind if you're going to be doing food delivery. Keep it hot or whatever. So those are all little things that kind of go into that. Now, I will do a future video where I talk about my car and what kind of setups I have. Possibly tomorrow. I'll make that video. But like I said, this is all stuff that needs to be considered before you get going. And if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, check out my blog. I will link it below. I'll also link my referral codes below should you want to get started, and I'll have my website down below. That information is crucial to being able to get started. Now, if you're looking to get started as a rider, you can use those same referral codes. As a matter of fact, if you do have any additional questions, comments, and feedback, or anything else that people should consider when they're getting started, go ahead and leave that below. I'd really love to hear what you have to say as well. Now, the last things I want to mention are just some useful apps if you're getting started. If you plan on running dual platforms for rideshare, there is one called Maestro if you have Android. This will allow you to flip back and forth between both apps. So if you get an alert on one, you'll get logged off the other, so that way you don't have to do any type of decline and your decline rate doesn't go down. Another one that's kind of coming around, and I hate to say it, they have a wait list, but check out Stereo. Look up Drive Stereo, I think it is, or Play Stereo, but it's Steero. Like, again, I'll have some links to these apps down below, but these are apps that will be useful. So Stereo is designed to pay you for playing music for passengers, and then they pay you for it. How awesome is that? Just play music. So right now, since I'm waitlisted, until I can get on Stereo, I use Amazon Prime Music. After I can get on Stereo, there's a possibility I may get rid of my Amazon Prime account. I haven't decided yet because I watch a lot of TV shows on there. I don't do Netflix or Hulu, so we'll see. But again, you're just getting paid to play music, so you don't have to worry about Spotify. You don't have to worry about all this and that. So that's another one. Drive Cargo. Drive Cargo has a partnership with Uber, and so basically what it is there's no cost. Free of charge, as long as you're in an area where it's serviced and you get approved and everything else, and there's some requirements for that. Starting minimum, you have to have, I believe it's at least 100 lifetime rides, and then so many over the past week and things like that. But Drive Cargo basically will send you a box with goodies. Strap it to your center console. Let's take earbuds for a good example. I'm driving someone to the airport, like, oh, I forgot my earbuds. I can be like, hey, I'll tell you what, man. There's a website right there on the back of that box. You can go there, order through the app, and I can actually sell you a pair. They're about $3 or $2 or $10, depending on what kind you have and things like that. So this box, basically, you get the box in the mail. You get a box of goodies in the mail. The app tracks essentially your inventory. So if I'm given 10 pair of earbuds, when I get down to like maybe 5, they may send me another box of them. So it automatically resupplies me, and I don't have any overhead with this, but I make a commission off of every sale. So it's a good way to make a little bit of money on the side. In addition to that, there's an app called Stride. There's a whole bunch of them out there, Mile IQ and a bunch of other ones as well, but I mentioned Stride just because it kind of came up in my search results. But you want to track your mileage. And this is one of the other things we didn't really talk about in the taxes, but you can actually deduct, per the IRS, your mileage. So when I looked it up, I think it was about 54.5 cents per mile. So if I'm making, say, 65, 66 cents a mile, I can tax deduct 54.5 cents. Typically, I don't have to pay anything in for taxes, which is great because you don't make a lot of money to begin with doing this. So being able to have those deductions is amazing. So when I put my 30% away, typically that 30% I'm putting away is going to end up being car money. It's going to end up going towards car repairs or putting away to make sure that when the time comes I have something for a new vehicle. Little things like that are going to make a difference. Also, when you buy that dash cam I mentioned, understand that you need to be able to track all your expenses. I don't like using the apps for that. I actually have a notepad and a pen. I put my start, I put my ending mile, and which day it's for. That's how I track my mileages. I prefer the pen and paper. That's my preference, but there's a lot of people that use the app, and the apps aren't bad to use. I just have my own way of wanting to do it. Now, when I talk about that too, those notepads I buy are tax deductible. So is my dash cam is tax deductible. I keep water in my car. Those are tax deductible. I've bought little cups to keep the mints in, and I bought mints. So those are all tax deductible. I bought seat covers for the back of my seats where I can put the cup in there, and then the mints, you can put your bottle of water in there. Those items are all tax deductible. Why? They are a business related expense. Now, this can differ depending on where you're from and what's going on from year to year. So always consult a tax advisor or tax attorney to get the updated and 100% accurate information. This is just information that I've researched that has said that yes, these are tax deductible. Now when I go in to do my taxes, things can change, but at least I've kept the receipts. Worst that happens, hey, you know what? I can't deduct it, but I'm still getting that 54.5 cents per mile deduction, which means I don't have to pay in, so that's not bad at all. But you also got to understand that because you're an independent contractor, and you can go through Uber, I think, if you're driving through them, and I think they have some partnerships to help you get health insurance, but that health insurance is out of pocket, so you do have to consider that. Are you able to afford your health insurance? Because you could be talking about $100 a week even, so that's about $400 a month. It just depends on who you go through and what rates are, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So that's something to consider as well. So I hope this helps give you some good information for getting started in the rideshare business. If you have questions, you can definitely contact me through my website, which is rideshare-.com. Link is down below. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're looking to sign up, use one of my referral codes. And I always tell people that because if there's ongoing promotions and things like that, you get a little something, I get a little something. That helps me to continue to make these videos. And then in addition to that, don't forget to subscribe and check out my blog on the website and email me if you have any questions. My email is mitch@rideshare-.com. I'm more than happy to try to answer any questions you have. And it's not just me. My buddy, he's listed right on the website too with his referral codes, but we both drive, and he's been doing it for about 5+ years. He's driven in a few different markets. I've driven in Eau Claire and Minneapolis. He has driven in, I believe he drove in Chicago too, I can't remember, but I know for sure he's driven around Atlanta, Georgia. He's driven around Milwaukee, Madison, as well as Eau Claire. So between the two of us, we can get an answer to your question, and we just really hope to have the opportunity to help you get started. We want to make sure that as you get into this, you are informed 100%. I'm not trying to give you gimmicks. I'm not going to tell you you're going to get rich quick, because you're not. Now, do you have the potential to make 6 figures? Absolutely. But I wouldn't say with Uber alone. I would say you got to look at the side options. So like I said, stereo, drive cargo. I'm still waiting to kind of get more out of the gray area for advertising, but there's things out there on Google where they give you a pad or tablet to put on the back of your headrest, and it plays games and it plays advertisements and things like that. So that's kind of another way where people are paying money to you as a driver. Tips are another good one. I try to reduce advertising, so I don't really have much there. Well, actually, I don't really have anything right now. But again, those are, you got to look at other sources of income that are surrounded by the Uber and Lyft programs, as well as DoorDash, Grubhub. Those alone are not going to get you six figures. However, at the minimum, you should be able to provide a livable wage on it. You just have to be smart, understand time management, money management, and just kind of pay attention to some of the videos that are coming through here as I continue to gather information, gather all of this and put it together. Like I said, I don't charge for these videos. I'm not trying to make money by you having to pay me to watch this. My big thing is I want people that are getting into this to realize up front that there's a lot of people that are like, hey, come on in, you'll make like $100, $200, $300 an hour. Yeah, if it sounds too good to be true, it typically is. A lot of times what they're not telling you is if you want to make $50,000, $60,000 a year just driving Uber or Lyft or whatever, you're probably going to be putting in around 40, 60 hours a week. Well, at least 40 for sure, and that's with good tips, but you're probably driving 60 plus hours a week. And in all honesty, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. You're not going to get rich quick, and that's a fact. And so when I'm making these course videos, understand that I'm giving you the nitty-gritty truth, what you need to know, so when you go into this, you can be successful. Now that being said, understand that there's also a mindset. If you get into this and you're like, oh, I'm only getting like $5 a ride, I've only got $4 a ride, or there's about a half hour I didn't have any rides, I don't know if this is worth it. Well, understand that I can't speak for every single market in the United States or internationally with some of these programs. I personally drive Uber and Lyft. I really don't do Uber Eats. I want to. I'm just not at a point where I'm ready to do that yet comfortably. And not that it's bad, it's another addition that I would be picking up. And so I'm holding off on it till I'm ready to do that. But those are kind of the three different programs I'm focusing on. There are some people that'll say do Uber only. Some people that say do Lyft only. And to be completely honest, different markets call for different things. Now in the cities, I've driven Lyft and I've driven Uber, and both of those have kept me back-to-back busy. So they're both heavily used. In Eau Claire, it seems to be mostly Lyft. The same thing with down in Madison, according to my buddy. And I've heard people where in markets where it's Uber only. I shouldn't say only, but primarily Uber. So every little platform is going to be different based on different markets and different things like that. And so you got to kind of look at that as to what's going to be best for you as well. Talk to people in the area. If you see somebody driving, or out to eat, they get out of their car or something, you be like, hey, I've thought about driving. Is it worth it? You think I should get involved? Be like, and I would honestly say, if you're not going to use my referral code and you ask a friend or somebody, go ahead and say, hey, do you have a referral code that if I'm going to sign up with, I'd love to go ahead and use you as a referral on that. It's fair. That person, they're your buddy. But if you don't and you're not sure, go ahead and use mine. But like I said, I want to give you the honest to God truth. I'm not trying to rip you off here. I'm not trying to play you some gimmick. I'm not trying to scam you. I want you to understand that when you go into this, you need to know what to expect up front, because then you need to keep that positive attitude. Your riders are going to know if you have a negative attitude, and that will affect them and both their rating towards you, as well as if they're going to tip you or not. I mean, you could have been ready to get a $5, $10 tip, but you had a poor attitude, so now all of a sudden they maybe give you $1. So that's something to consider too. And like I said, if you have questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. Use my referral links, my email, my website, and the direct posting to the blog. Those are all listed below. I'm going to also have some links to those apps I mentioned. Those are going to be below in the description. If you really want to see a full out detailed version of this video and you want to just kind of skip all my blabbering, just go right to my blog. And you can just kind of read what I have right there. And if you have any questions in addition to that, just go ahead, hit the contact page, shoot an email out. That's going to come directly to me, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of it. So with that being said, thank you. Stay safe out there and just enjoy driving. You can meet a lot of cool people and have a lot of opportunity to network and just get to know a lot of people. I love to work. I try to do 6 days a week, at least 5 minimum. Once in a while I'll take 2 days off, but I love to drive and I love to help other people, and I want to see you guys be successful, but I want to do it honestly. So, like I said, if you have any comments, you have any other ideas or any other information that new drivers should know, leave it below, and hopefully, this can help us all out. Thank you, and have a good day.